following on from what I last said in my previous video about what happened to Call of Duty, I really wanted to discuss today about Black Ops 2 that came out in 2012 and the impact that it probably had on my life, and why they will really never make a game like Black Ops 2 again. And yeah, I mean, to get straight into this, I'd just like to say, right, if you haven't subscribed already, if you could subscribe and leave a like and let me know what you think about Black Ops 2 in general, that would be much appreciated. Because to be honest with you, Black Ops 2 is probably my favourite game of all time, and it's one of those games where it's almost the perfect Call of Duty. If you asked me what Call of Duty is not the most fun, but the perfect Call of Duty, the one that you could probably go back to and enjoy the most, I would probably say Black Ops 2. Because one, I'm biased. I love Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 for me was like my peak in Call of Duty years. It was that game that solidified itself as like the game that I loved. Like, if Black Ops 2 was to be in its peak again, and every other game was in its peak, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, I'd still pick Black Ops 2 any day of the week. Because for me, you know, just like some other people who have connections to Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty 4, Black Ops 2 is the game I go towards in terms of a connection, you know, because it's one of those games that is just so well rounded. The weapons were really good. The prestige system was amazing. I loved going through the prestige system. I loved getting to Prestige Master. And you know what? I would love to do that again one day. And that is what is missing from Call of Duty. You know, they've changed a system that doesn't need to be changed. And in Black Ops 2, the prestiges were what I would say is very different from one another. You'd find people who prefer Prestige 1, who like the Prestige 1 emblem. You'd find people who like the Prestige 2 emblem. You'd like people who find the Prestige 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 and so on. And because of that, you got different types of people with different types of emblems, different types of prestige icons, and it all come together. And what you can't say is that Call of Duty Black Ops 2 didn't have a lot of variety in it, because it definitely did. And unfortunately these days it's clouded over by the continuous hackers in the game, and because there's continuous hackers, you don't really get to experience what the game was about these days. But for when it was for when it released at that time, I don't think there was any game that was better than it. And to be honest with you, looking back on it, I'm not going to lie to you. In 2011, in 2012, after Modern Warfare 3, you know, Modern Warfare 3 had 6 to 8 months development time, and people were thinking, you know what, Modern Warfare 3, good game, okay, fair enough. I think the Call of Duty community is going to decline. That's what my mindset was as a kid. And looking back on it, how wrong was I? I remember watching the Black Ops 2 trailer and thinking, this game is going to be terrible. I feel like a muppet looking back on it, but I'm so glad that it wasn't, because Black Ops 2, you know, for me it meant something. And you know, I've probably put a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months in my life, and you know what? Even 10 years later, if that game wasn't broken to death, I'd go and put another 10 years, not another 10 years, sorry, another year, another 6 months, another 2 months, because for me, the fun in that game was unparalleled. And to get a game like that again would be amazing, but it just will never happen, because we live in a different time. Black Ops 2 was unrivaled, in my opinion. Like, if you asked me to do a tier list of Call of Duties, I would probably put Black Ops 2 top 99.999% of the times, because for me, it was my peak Call of Duty, and I loved it. You know, I had always enjoyed COD, but that was the peak. And you know, I mean, we haven't even mentioned the zombies and the multiplayer, the campaign yet. You know, the multiplayer, right? You know, these days you get battle passes. You get battle passes in, you know, Modern Warfare 2 that's going to come out. You get Warzone. You get all of this. But at its core, Black Ops 2 was just so perfect. You know, because I remember towards the end of Black Ops 2's life cycle, right? What you would do is Treyarch would release skins, right, for weapons, and they weren't amazing. They weren't, like the anime skins they do these days in Call of Duty. They were skins that you just wanted because they look cool. Whereas these days, you spend 20 quid on a skin for your character, in Modern Warfare 2019, in Cold War, in Vanguard, and to me, it just looks a bit embarrassing. Whereas back in the day, you'd go and spend £1.99 on a few customization skins in the multiplayer, and you'd call it a day. If you want to invest more into the game, you can. But these days, it's like once you get the game, it's half broken. Then you've got to go and buy skins and that lot to make yourself look cool, and it's like they're overpriced, and I don't get it. This is another reason why I don't play modern Call of Duties, because they don't have the love and affection they used to. And Black Ops 2 was so good at doing that, And in hindsight, back in 2018, 2016, 2017, when I was one of the people that was gunning for free DLC to come into Call of Duty, looking back on it, I would rather spend 20 to 30 quid on a season pass and have zombies and the multiplayer maps have such affection and care for them than spend absolute ridiculous money on skins and getting free content to have such basic and boring maps on multiplayer. And I think personally they should have kept to that. And again, this is what gives another point to Black Ops 2. Pardon me, because Black Ops 2, the season pass, yes, it was a bit pricey. I think it was 40 quid. But what I will not have is that the maps weren't iconic. And I mean, every map in Black Ops 2 was just amazing. I mean, I can't really name a bad map. I mean, I found Nuketown, looking back on it, to be absolutely annoying. But even then, that's not a terrible map. You had remakes in Black Ops 2 that were pretty decent as well. You've got Slums, you've got Raid. They're not. Well, Raid is one of the best Call of Duty maps you're probably ever going to get. But Slums, for example, not a bad map. And again, it's the same with Zombies as well. You had Transit. Okay, yes, Transit. Back in the day, it was the worst Zombies map. But then you had Black Ops 4 come out. Some of the worst zombie maps I've ever seen. Cold War, Vanguard. And you look back on it, and World War 2 as well. I loved World War 2, World War 2's multiplayer. But the zombies were terrible, right? But looking back on it, I would play Transit over World War 2 zombie maps, Infinite Warfare zombie maps, maybe Zetabo, not Zetabo, what am I right? Zetabo, and I'd probably play it over... I'd probably play Transit over those types of maps, because for me, Transit, whilst it is long and it's boring, if you play with people, the entertainment value just goes up, and it's just, I don't know what it is about Transit. It has a charm still, and it will continue to have that, I think. And that's my issue. These days you don't get that charm in the zombies. You just get basic maps, choose a character, okay, an operator. Baseless, lifeless operator. Back in the day, we had Russman, Misty, characters like that, Richtofen, Nikolai, Dempsey, characters like that. We had characters that we could actually begin to like, characters that we can get involved with. But these days, you don't get that. And in Zombies, it was very important for the storyline, because a big part of the Zombies community was the storyline. And whilst I was never involved, I do like learning about the zombie storyline, and that was very key. And it continued in Black Ops 3 as well, so it continued to grow, and that's what Zombies needs. It needs that revival. And in Black Ops 2, you could say Die Rise. I mean, I know Die Rise was hated by a lot of Zombies players, but I'm sorry, but I love Die Rise. I have strong affections for Die Rise because of my memories, and I know this is pure nostalgia for me saying this, but I do love Die Rise. I love Transit. Maps like that, I do love them. And I love Mob of the Dead. I love Origins. I didn't play much of Origins, but I loved it. But the reason why I didn't play much of Origins is because I was a kid, and I fell out of love in Black Ops 3. And I haven't really recovered since, to be honest with you. Advanced Warfare killed my love for Call of Duty in a way. And Black Ops 2, the Zombies maps, they still felt like Call of Duty Zombies maps, whereas these days it feels like a copy of Call of Duty maps, Zombies. You know, it feels like someone else decided, you know what, we're going to copy Call of Duty Zombies. And that's what I felt in Cold War. Cold War isn't a bad game. It isn't the best. It's a bit of a mid game. You know, the campaign, I don't really care. It looks too much like Black Ops 1. Trying to recreate the magic. And I think, you know, it's not a bad idea, but, you know, Black Ops 1, one of the best games. But you can't recreate the old magic of these old games. And that's ultimately what Call of Duty's failed to do, you know. And this is why Black Ops 2 is such a unique game for me. You know, Black Ops 2 was a game that, you know, was almost a trendsetter in a way for me. But it was always a game that decided the fate of Call of Duty, if you think of it. Because after Black Ops 2, I'm willing to say confidently that after Black Ops 2, all the Call of Duty games from then on fell off. And that's unfortunate because, you know, these days there have been a few decent Call of Duties. Like, I know this might be controversial again, considering I just ripped into the Infinite Warfare Zombies. But I do think Infinite Warfare, looking back on it, was actually a decent Call of Duty. I know that sounds harsh. Not harsh. I know that sounds like a bit wow, but that was the last best Call of Duty for me. And since then, we haven't really got anything else. And I still go back to Black Ops 2. I still go back, and that's the game that, you know, if you put a gun to my head and said, what game are you going to remaster, or what game do you want to be remastered? Black Ops 2, every day of the week, next Tuesday, midnight, 3 in the morning. You know, I'd play the living Christ out of that game. But I don't think it'll happen. And I mean, I haven't even touched on the campaign yet, so I'll just touch up on it real quick. You know, the campaign was brilliant, you know. The textures, the graphics, I mean, back in the day were brilliant. For that time at least, you know, Xbox 60 days, it looked good, it sounded great, the weapons were brilliant. You know, the campaign was probably a 7.5, 8 out of 10. It wasn't the best campaign. I think Black Ops 1 had a better campaign. Modern Warfare 2 had a better campaign. But what Black Ops 2 campaign had over it was that it was a continuation of Black Ops 1. And you had seen in Modern Warfare 3, whilst Modern Warfare 3 was a good game, Black Ops 2 did the campaign, the continuation, way better. And I don't think I can say that it didn't, because it did ultimately. And, you know, Call of Duty, it's notorious for having a good storyline, and, you know, we haven't seen that in a while with Black Ops 2. It did hit on that, and I think that's where it ended. I think, if I remember, that I don't see why they brought it back in Cold War, you know, in an alternate universe or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, Black Ops 2, what a game. Now, if I was to rate each part of the game at a basis, I would probably say campaign is 7.5 out of 10. Multiplayer is probably a 9.5. You know, you can never get perfect, because there was one or two maps that were a bit meh. But I think Black Ops 2 did so much unique stuff. Like, I still remember a game mode called Arms Race, and I have yet to see that return. I don't know why it got removed from Black Ops 2, but it got removed. Game modes like that, it had everything in a Call of Duty game that you want. You know, it was basic, but it was so good at what it did, and that's what we missed. You know, no skill-based matchmaking, stuff like that. You just got to have fun, and, you know, that was the time where Call of Duty was at all-time high. You had Ninja Diffusing and that lot. So this is why I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10, because my memories of Black Ops 2 will always be there. If I could play it again, I would play it again, but the servers are like hacked and that lot, and I don't really want to risk anything going wrong, so I probably won't. So I'd give that 7.5 for campaign, 9.5 for multiplayer. For zombies, Die Rise was a good map. Transit was okay. It was not amazing, so it does knock it down a little, but it was decent and it had charm. For Mob of the Dead, for Buried, and for Origins, I'd probably have to give Black Ops 2 more zombies. I'd probably have to give it a 8.5. You know, it would have been a 9 out of 10 if Transit was good. I liked Die Rise, as I said. Buried was a really good map to play with friends. Origins was hard, but I know if I learn how to play Origins, I'd love it. That and Mob of the Dead are kind of the same. I never learned how to play them, but if I learned how to play them, I'd love it. So I'd give Zombies 9 out of 10. So I'd probably give Black Ops 2 a 9 overall. You know, you can't get any better than that. I mean, you can't give it a 10 because 10 is like, for me, 10 would mean Black Ops 2. You could still play Black Ops 2 and everybody would play it. You know, everybody still goes back to Black Ops 2, but they don't, because Call of Duty has moved on. And that is the issue, you know. If Black Ops 2 was to be remastered one day, I would hate for them to introduce battle passes, tier skips and that lot, and Warzone into it, because it's just not Black Ops 2. So yeah, anyway, this is just me talking about Black Ops 2 and the past, the present, and the future of it. You know, what it was about, what I think of each game mode, and what I ultimately think they could do better, what they could do less of, what was perfect in the games, like the weapons, the zombies, the campaign, the characters, stuff like that. If you would like to see more of me reviewing a game and just talking about it in general, of my experience and what I enjoyed, please let me know. Anyway, if you could subscribe and like, that'd be appreciated. And anyway, peace.